Hello everyone and welcome back to another casted game. Today we got a Hausa mirror here, and we have up here in the north of the map a name that I can't pronounce, so we'll just call him Blue, I guess. And then we have here the red player here up down in the south of the map, also playing as Hausa. Now, this recording was sent to me by one of the guys on Discord, and I'm realizing now that I don't actually know which of these in-game names is actually him, but I guess we might find that out later in the game. But we're gonna follow both players here, and we're gonna try to see how differently they play Hausa, because we know that they're actually gonna use some different compositions, and it will be interesting to see how they do this kind of matchup. I would say like the Hausa versus Hausa matchup is it's very tempting to go early Raiders and raid your opponent, but the problem is Raiders basically cost the same resources as Javelins, and if your opponent then starts Javelin, well then you're really fucked. So yeah, you really want to be careful about going too many Raiders. I think it's always better to start with a mix of Fulani and Raiders. So it's gonna be interesting to see what decks they actually pick here. So let's see here. We got Joy 3, and this deck has some pretty standard stuff. So yeah, we see the villagers, no Placo Code. The Griot's actually quite an interesting card. 4 Griot's quite nice. Also, Spice Trade is an interesting decision here. Some people like it. It can be quite good. Like, Hausa units are really food heavy, actually. Like, especially in a team game, I think Spice Trade is actually really good. We can also see he got the Fulani upgrades, actually both of them, and the Javelin upgrade. So this is like, if I see this deck, I'm gonna expect more of a Fulani Javelin comp, I think, especially considering he has the 9 Fulani and the 8 Javelins, and yeah, interesting. Let's see the Industrial. So in the Industrial he has the Fulanis with the Lefidi Knights. Interesting. Not a whole lot in the Industrial, so if the game goes to Industrial, that deck can definitely prove to be quite limiting. Let's check out Red's deck here. He does have the Placo Code, no University Hausa Kingdom Builder here. So yeah, maybe he wants to go for the Palace of Amina. This deck seems to be more like centered around the Palace of Amina and the Raider build. Maybe going up with the gold, actually. And we can also see he doesn't have the Fulanis in the deck, and he doesn't have any of the Fulani upgrade cards. So this deck is way more focused for like mercenaries, cavalry, that kind of stuff. He even has the Salian kingdoms and the loyal warriors. So the Akan is really buffed here. Also, he has quite nice H4 cards, like really good options here if the game progresses to H4. So I would say that yeah, we're probably gonna see, I guess the player up here in the north is the guy who sent me the recording, because I think he's gonna play with Fulanis, and this looked like a Fulani deck, and well, yeah, this definitely looks like an Akan deck to me. So that can be quite nice, just looking at your opponent's deck like that, and seeing like what type of strategy they will probably use, like what type of composition, and then countering appropriately. So we know there's probably gonna be Akans and cavalry from the red here, and probably Fulani Jab from blue. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. We got another shipment here on red side, and let's look at the blue player here. So he also has a shipment, and now is really the time to send the House of Kingdom if he wants to do it, but maybe he's gonna skip out on that. Actually, he's gathering a bit of gold, gathering some wood, he's building that university. Okay, so he's probably not gonna send the House of Kingdom, and in that case you probably should just remove it from the deck, honestly. Really not, like, it would be very nice in that case, just remove it and add maybe something in H4 to help strengthen your H4. Yep, so there we're up, and he aged up with the Influence, actually. So does look like one of the influence HF. It could actually be Berbers or Akans, and we see the exact same thing here on the other side. So interesting. I think both went actually up with the Berber HF. Now that's the greedy option, but you can of course also make Berber camels with the HF. So yeah, it can be both, but it's most of the time greedy. We see a war camp coming out here, and I bet we'll see a war camp coming out for his opponent as well. Training some Berber nomads here, and let's switch over to the other player. Let's see, Red. Is he making any Berber nomads? It doesn't look like it. No, he is actually not. But he's doing the Akan palm export. So you see, he had 1,000 food, and he just did the Akan palm export. So he actually went up with the Akan. Interesting. So that gave him 600 wood, 600 gold. That's actually quite nice, because that means you could potentially build like 3 palaces or universities, which could be quite nice. But he's dropping down a palace with the palace wagon, also getting a war camp here. So actually I kind of like that palm exports tech. I think it is quite cheap actually. I don't remember exactly what it costs, but I'm pretty sure it's a pretty cheap tech, as it should be. So and like the idea of course is that food is gathered way faster than the other resources, so we can just very quickly regain that food. And yeah, it's just quite nice. Sending the Akan here now as his next shipment. And yeah, he got some villagers quite out here away from town, so that I wouldn't really want to put the villagers there. And here we see some raiders coming in, so let's switch over for blue. And blue is actually making some Berber camels as well, so it's gonna pair really nicely with the raiders, because that means that you can really take fights with other cavalry that catch up to you, because the Berbers of course counter that. And yeah, ooh, this is gonna be painful. Yeah, it looks like Red is gonna lose a few villagers here, although he just made some cavalry of his own. So there goes one villager, and let's see, probably 2 villagers there. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's one's gonna die probably, but it is doing a great job here of getting the explorer involved. Yeah, he lost another villager, so losing 2 villagers, but at the same time killing 4 cav. So actually not a terrible trade. It's definitely bad, but yeah, it could have gone a lot worse. And he's training some Akans also. I think he trained them with the influence as well, so quite nice mass here for Red. Meanwhile we see blue building some more houses, expanding on this side. I wonder if he's gonna take the TP. Yeah, he is gonna take the TP. So that's the House of Wethen. It's gonna be interesting to see what he does with that. He's also training some Fulanis, and I think that's what he needs. He sees the Akan and he needs to get some Fulani out. He's also sending the Fulani. Now ideally you really want to get the Fudio tactics out really quickly. In this position I would even consider sending Fudio tactics first, because he isn't being pressured, and it's just such a good card. Like it really makes the Fulani so much more useful, because with that 17 range it's really difficult. Oh, sorry, not 17 range. Yeah, 17 range, I said it correctly. So with that 17 range, it's really difficult to get in range with the Akan. Even though they only had 12, it can be quite difficult to get in range. But we see a big mass here from Red actually. Just got his archer shipment. Now we see a lot of archers here for blue, but not a whole lot of anti-cav. So he does have a few of these Berbers, but he really don't want to lose them right now, because there's a lot of cav there. But yeah, he's making some more javelins, and he's making some Berbers as he should. So he's gonna be able to fix that. And I think also now could be a great option just to add like 2 or 3 griots. So like imagine building a few griots here with the university. He has a lot of gold, and they can really make a huge difference if the fight breaks out, and just stunning your opponents and dealing damage and soaking damage as well. But now we got a decent amount of anti-cav, and I think that's probably enough. With some good micro, that's probably enough to take out all of these cavalry units actually. So I think that if blue micros this well, he could win, but it's a lot easier to micro this battle for Red, of course, because he's using the Akans. And also I don't think we have the Fudio tactics in just yet. No, we don't. So we can see this is the problem. It's really hard to micro and stay out of the range of the Akan, especially without the Fudio tactics. And if you get hit by the Akans, they will deal a lot of damage, because the area of effect damage just does so much damage, and these archers really have so little hit points. But as long as blue can manage to kite here, I think it's gonna be okay. He just needs to kite forever and ever and ever, and just use his anti-cav here to take out those cavalry units, but he really don't want to lose too many of his cav. But I would say it's a fairly even trade at this point, although probably favorable for blue, at least in terms of resources. We see a lot of accounts going down, and yeah, he has really been able to keep up his mass of archers here, and those raiders are not cheap. But he did manage to take out all, Red managed to take out all of the anti-cav here, so he's gonna be able to kill these last Fulanis, and we do see some more javelins coming out, but it's looking a bit dicey because now there's a Khan in his base, and there's still enough accounts to actually kill the villagers, and we see a lot of raiders here as well. So yeah, he might actually lose quite a few villagers here if he's not careful. But we do see him not really using those cavalry that much, but yeah, getting some more villager kills here, and he really wants to like go with these cavalry units and try to find the villagers that escaped there, I think. But he's gonna opt to go for the Fulanis. That's also a great option, of course. And he needs some more remassing, and he's not really getting a lot more units. So I think blue may be able to hold this actually. But the question is, has he done enough damage? See, red is up in score, but only by 200, so it's still extremely close. And he did lose a few villagers, but not a whole lot. And let's compare it. We got 25 villagers for red here, and we got 31 actually for blue. So that's of course the extra Berber nomads that he created. He was a bit greedy in the beginning, and it's really paid off because he does have a bit better eco even after losing those villagers. So I think the longer blue can hold this, the better it's gonna look for him. And yeah, you can see these Berber nomads so good, like 133 on food. That's pretty insane. Yeah, he's sending spice trade now as well. So if you get the spice trade in on these guys, you'll get so good gathering rates. And if you haven't seen my strategy guides, you should definitely check it out. I do in that video I show you 3 different opening strategies, and one of them is using these Berber nomads with spice trade to get a lot of resources, and one of them is of course the Akan FF, getting those accounts out. So if you want to learn these strategies yourself, definitely check out that video. But we do see cleanup here, and right now it is looking good for blue, especially considering he's managed to now also sending spice trade, survive this and send the spice trade. So yeah, he's just gonna have amazing gather rates. See, 1.22, and that's just a regular villager. That's not even a Berber nomad. I wonder if we have any of the nomads here, if we can see what they are actually gathering on. But looks like all the nomads are actually on wood right now, so yeah, we can't really see it. But yeah, also on wood, these guys are amazing. Like, so for you, for everyone who doesn't know, I think these have like a 30% boost for all natural resources. So that's wood, that's berry bushes, that's hunted animals, and gold. So you can see you really get like insane gather rate, like 0.77 instead of 0.60. So quite nice there. We got another shipment as well, and I wonder what the next shipment's gonna be. Let's see here what he chooses to send. And he doesn't have 700 wood. I think 700 wood at this point, or sorry, 700 gold would actually be quite a good option here to try to go for the age up, but he doesn't have that. And he's gonna instead do the Furio tactics. Great card, and he does have some javelins, so yeah, that's never a bad option if you want to go with javelin with the Fulani. So we see here the armies crossing paths here, missing each other, and there's a lot of accounts once again. So really see red player here just doubling down on those accounts. But the problem is now that there's a lot of Fulanis coming out here, and these Fulanis now with the Furio tactics are gonna be incredibly good versus these Akan. You can see they do have that really sweet 1.75 bonus multiplier versus the Akan. And if you take a look at the range, you can see the huge range compared to the Akans. But he is struggling here with the pathing a bit. You can't really walk on this path, you can only walk over here and over here. So yeah, it looked a bit dicey, but he managed to get away with most of his units, and he just really needs to kill those cavalry units. And if he manages to kill the cavalry, then I think he can pretty easily pick off the accounts. And in this position also, when you're fighting the accounts, it can be quite good to use the formations where you spread the units more apart, exactly like he's doing right now. You can see he has the units in cover mode, which means that they will spread more apart, which means that they will take less damage of the area of effect. Now the issue is here that even though blue is looking really well in this fight, and he can definitely, his armor composition is really well countered towards red player, he can't really push the base too much because he doesn't have any siege. Like he only has those like 3 raiders to siege, so that's really the struggle with this composition. You really struggle with siege, and yeah, we're gonna see how he deals with that. Normally you would add like cannons or something, but that's of course in H3. So he's sending the griots now. Quite nice card. It's gonna boost his army a bit, though it would probably be better here to just have 700 gold, because if he sends 700 gold he can just train however many griots he wants. But what is nice with that griot card though, that cannot be understated, is the fact that it actually adds the build limit. So you can have 4 extra griots if you send that card, which makes it actually quite good. And he's actually putting the griots on the drums. I love it. So you can actually like change the instruments with them. Also, another thing you can do is put one of the griots on your military production facility, and it will produce military units way faster. Or you can put it on the TC if you want to produce villagers. Like, I think villagers are produced like 10% faster. I think the military buildings are buffed a lot more, although I don't know exactly. But it's definitely, can be definitely quite nice just leave one of the griots like that. So another fight breaking out. I wonder if red is potentially aging here. Yeah, that is exactly what I would expect in this position, because the Akans, of course, the shadow tech, which means they're already upgraded as soon as he gets up the next day. I think he really needs to just avoid fighting. I would probably stay a lot more back with the unit, just let my opponent actually walk into my base at this point. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So he gets the Berber up on the age up, and his units are already aged up now. They're already upgraded. He is floating a lot of resources here, actually. He needs gold to make more accounts. I think he should probably like sell some food at this point and just build like a whole bunch of accounts. But he's doing the upgrade for the raiders. He does have 12 raiders, so I think it kind of makes sense. He's also doing the upgrade with the imported cannons to get some cannons out. And I bet we're gonna see the next shipment is probably gonna be 5 Lefidis, or possibly actually the Kanuri Guards. He does have the influence for the Kanuri Guards, so that would be quite nice. Although he just did some tech that actually costed a lot of influence, and I'm not actually quite sure what he did. Oh, he made 2 Falconets with that 1000 influence. So it's gonna be a quite strong force here with the Akans and the 2 Falconets very soon, probably Lefidis as well. So it's gonna be interesting to see how blue deals with that. And blue does have the stronger army at the moment, and he's gonna go for a raid here, which is probably gonna be like really successful actually. Yeah, this probably like, if he gets away with this raid and then just survives, then I think he's won the game. So it's really important when you have your villagers out on the field, keep your army close to those villagers at all times. And we do see the Falconets coming out now, getting a nice volley here on the units, but yeah, it's just losing so many villagers. It's not looking good. And also the Fulanis are really doing some work here. Meanwhile, blue is aging though, so blue still has only H2 units, while red has H3 units. So yeah, red's unit is definitely a bit stronger in this position, so I think blue probably just want to hang back and wait for his H-up to come in to do the upgrades, and also maybe even get a Culverin out, because right now, as it stands with the Falconets, he doesn't really have anything to deal with those Falconets. So he's training more Fulanis, which is exactly what he needs. It's a very like infantry focused composition here from red. So yeah, I would definitely focus on making Fulanis at this moment. And he's also stacking a lot of resources actually. Looks like he's really low on wood. He probably even want to trade in some livestock here for the wood, get that 400 wood and just train a lot more units. You could even like put the griots on the production facilities. Like imagine just taking 2 of these griots, put them here on the buildings and buff the building production rate, because he has so many resources. He just needs to get stuff out now. And he is sending the 8 Berber allies out. This is a great card. Like, the Berbers are so good. And you get 8 for 500. It's such a good price. And yeah, definitely a really good card. And I think he's probably gonna be able to get maybe a really nice pop here. But no, yeah, this fort will actually go down before that happens. So I think he just needs to mess as much stuff as possible, and then just take a good fight here, and then I think he might have won the game. But I say that, and red score is actually up a lot, actually. So we see, I wonder how he's managing to keep up, actually. We see 46 villagers here, and that's for blue. And red is only on 37, but he's really keeping up despite that. And yeah, we see the fight breaking out, but there's still nothing to really counter those falconets from blue here, and it's gonna be quite tough to kill them. He's diving in with his whole army now to really focus fire down the cannons. He got the first cannon down, but he's not getting the second cannon down, and yeah, some unfortunate micro here by red not really protecting the cannon. You can really see how much time the cannon really saved you, like all of that time where blue's entire army had to be focused on the cannon. That's really where you can use the grids as well. Like using the grids to stun the cannons is just so good. But we do see this fight looking quite good for blue, I think, although he is losing a lot of his anti-cav actually. So I think he just lost too much of the cavalry there while trying to take down those falconets. And yeah, these Lefidi Knights are so strong. There's coming up more anti-cav now, fortunately for him, which is gonna swing the fight quite a bit. So it's looking quite favorable for blue again, I think. And we'll see how he cleans this up. And there are some reinforcing accounts here, but yeah, it's probably a bit too little too late, and the account's not going to be able to do much against these Fulanis. We still have 19 Fulanis left, and there we see even more Javelin Riders coming in. So really nice display of like just using the native units, using the Hausa's traditional units like the Fulani and the Javelins. And I think they're really good. Like, they're really good at taking good trades. The difficult part is that you really lack siege. Like, if red just builds more buildings and booms behind this, just puts out more town centers and stuff while attacking you, using that wood, then it would be quite difficult for blue here. Like, I think blue is really he got in front because he got a better economy and he managed to take good trades. But yeah, he definitely doesn't have the influence economy to build cannons. So I think that's really what red here needs to exploit. And also, like, seeing on red side, there's not a whole lot of influence here. Like, overall, like, for instance, blue got this trading post. It would be really nice actually to drop a university there, but yeah, neither of the players are really focusing on the influence at all. And we see 3 cattle for red here and 5 for blue. So yeah, both are quite weak on the influence side. So as Hausa, you always want to build more universities and try to get that steady trickle of influence just growing all the time, so you can just spam those falconets. Because well, if your opponent has cannons and you do not, you're gonna have such a hard time taking them down. You see how many units you lose when you're trying to kill a falconet like that. It's just really often really inefficient, and especially with the javelins, because they have this really long fire animation compared to normal goons. But now he's sending the 1000 influence. He's also building some boats here. So yeah, it's gonna be quite nice. We also see some Lefidi coming out to do some raiding here on the side, although there is a palace here now. So yeah, quite nice getting that second palace. So red's gonna have a significantly better influence gathering at this moment. Let's take a look back here at blues, and he is actually doing quite well. He's doing well with the macro. He's not floating a ton of resources, and he got at least 1 villager there, which is quite nice. So he actually okay, only red is going on the water actually. I just saw that flag and expected a boat, but yeah, red really wants another hunt, because he really doesn't have any hunt left in his base. Like, this whole side of the map is completely out of hunts, and there's one hunt here, but that red has been trying to take. But yeah, we're gonna see blue take that hunt now, and these are only berry bushes. So I think overall a good option here to go for the boats. Like, going for the boats is usually better than going to farms. I do really prefer just putting people on wood instead and then building the dock. I think it's 9 out of 10. In 9 out of 10 occasions, that's the better option. Now we see a lot of anti-cav here for blue. A lot of these Fulanis. And he's looking to push, I think, and we see some Lefidis as well, also doing the amalgamation. So there are quite a few of these gold mines left, so it is actually quite worth it to do the amalgamation still. And none of the opponents have really claimed this side too well. There's not a whole lot going on there. I would love to see like a fort and a university there. Now we see a fight breaking out. We got four falconets for red, so quite a lot of falconets actually. If he just manages to protect these falconets, and I say that, and one of the falconets is, yeah, oof, that's just unfortunate. But yeah, it's actually 5 falconets, so he got he got 5 out. Now unfortunately he lost that one. That was some unfortunate micro, but yeah, that's quite nice. And I guess he could use this Greek Revolution ability quite soon as well. This one is really good. Like whenever you see the House of Banner, always take the TP, because this revolution will give you the Sacred Band infantry that's like a Musk type unit, and it just increases the amount of free units you get all the time, so it's just really good. But I bet we're gonna see some culverins coming out from blue here, is my guess. He got quite a bit of influence, but not really enough to actually send the falconets or the culverins. I think he maybe sent the influence actually. No, he didn't. Okay, so he's gonna send the influence now, and he's gonna use that influence to probably get 3 culverins out, I think. That's probably how many he's gonna be able to get. So he's getting the trade post, which is quite nice. I think that trade post actually will be within the range of this university, so that's just a really nice placement of that initial university. You see both players actually doing that, getting that really nice placement of the university. We did hear some really good music there. That was the Sacred Band coming out, I think. So yeah, I can't really see any of the units here, or maybe it was this ability actually, but I'm not sure. And we see a lot of fishing boats coming out here, and now we see both players actually going for the fishing boat, so it's gonna be interesting. We also see a Sebek being trained, so that's where a lot of his influence went. So this boat is really good, but it is ultra expensive, like 500 influence and 700 coin. It's just super expensive unit, and the problem is if you're going for the Sebek, it really limits your ability to get culverins or falconets, so it's really dangerous to go for it. And he actually has 4,000 food right now. Can you believe this guy stacking 4,000 food? Like, take all of these villagers over to coin, I think would be a great option in this moment. Then now he's up against both a blind culverin and all of the falconets, so he still doesn't really have an answer for the falconet, and I think he probably can't really take this trade actually, although he might be able to get this fort down just by the really poor pathing here by red. I think red's pathing has just been incredibly unfortunate this whole game. He's really been stuck with the cannons, and it's really cost him a lot. I think he could probably kill a lot more stuff there, or at least lost less HP on this fort. But we do see 2 culverins coming out. 2 is definitely the amount you want or more, because with 2 culverins you can of course one-shot a falconet, and that's exactly what you want. And I think blue is probably just gonna go for like the all-in here and trying to like just snipe the cannons in the middle of the fight. And he got the Sebek out as well as the party boat, and we do have 2 party boats for red as well, so there's just some fights spring out here on all the flanks. And we see the culverin being sniped, another falconet being sniped, and we're gonna see a second falconet here going down. Yeah, so only 2 falconets left, and it's looking really good here with the anti-cav here protecting the culverins. And yeah, he's gonna be able to get every single falconet out, and it's just looking really good for blue. Meanwhile, I think blue is also gonna win probably this water fight, because the Sebek is just so good. Yeah, overall a really nice engagement here by blue, and it really shows you the power of the culverin. I think he really needed that culverin to win this, and as soon as he got the culverin, it was just smooth sailing from there on. And red does have a few of these party boats left, but yeah, the Sebek is just such a good boat, so it will probably wreck these guys. So we got the first party boat going down. He's actually escaping with his Sebek. He probably wants to fight here near the dock, where he got some reinforcements, and also gets the healing from the dock, of course. And we'll see if he actually wins this, and maybe not actually. Meanwhile, he's killing some buildings here, taking out this right side of the map. Now most of the villagers, however, are here on the left side of the base, so he's not gonna be able to kill a lot of villagers. But I think he just needs to creep into the base like this, and he's probably gonna win the game. And it does look like the Sebek was did go down, but he has some reinforcing party boats coming out here, so he will be able to clean that up, it looks like, and he's gonna be able to use the culverins to shoot any other boats popping out of the dock. So I think the water is definitely one for blue side. But we see a raid coming out here on the right side. Now I do like this. This is actually really nice. He should just take the Lefidi Knights here and run towards these villagers, and he can get probably like 4 kills. It's quite nice actually. And I wonder how Blue's gonna respond to that. He's gonna actually run right into the base, and yeah, he might actually get all of these villagers. And we see Blue stacking so many resources. Just build some Fulanis, man. Like, he really needs to just spam out those Fulanis right now. Or build some universities and influence buildings. And meanwhile, we see his opponent is really struggling on the resource front here. And yeah, it's just looking really good for Blue, I think. He's gonna be able to take out this whole base, and yeah, once the base is finished, there's not gonna be a whole lot left for Red to do. But Red is migrating his base here. He's building a town center and 2 war camps. So I think this is what he needed to do like 10 minutes ago. Build a proxy base here, because having this part of the map is so nice for both for the natural resources and also for the influence with this TP right here. But yeah, we can see that Blue really doesn't have a lot of siege, and this is really the difficult part with the Fulani Javelin composition. You see, it takes so long time to take all these buildings down, and the way you usually add siege is by adding these raiders, but the problem is the raiders aren't really that good in combat. And that's why the accounts are so good, because the accounts are good both in combat, but they also have like huge siege. And it looks like he did some selling on the market, so he's ready for the H-up, and we're gonna see Blue probably going for the H-up now. Meanwhile, we see... oh, actually, here's the Blue player. So the Blue player is almost ready for the H-up, but he needs a bit of gold. Meanwhile, we see actually the Red player aging up first. So I think he just lost his production buildings, and that meant that he wasn't producing stuff, which means he just started stockpiling resources, and that meant he could go for that H-up. But it actually looks like he cancelled the H-up. I think he needs to go for it. Like, he has the resources. But yeah, it's not really... he's a bit indecisive in what he wants to do. He's only queuing 6 accounts at the moment, and yeah, I think for the longer he waits, the more over it is, and he's gonna try to go for a raid here on the top, but I don't know about this. I think it's gonna be really difficult to do enough damage, and he does have a few Lefidis here actually, which is quite nice, but yeah, he just needs to really find those villagers and not get stuck on the buildings. And he's gonna get a nice pick off here actually with these Flanis. So that's quite nice. But now we see the whole Blue army coming back, and also there's so much stuff from Blue here. So many raiders, so many of these javelin riders here. So yeah, overall I think it's just looking really good for Blue. He's just gonna run straight into this base and kill all the buildings, and yeah, on this front he's probably gonna win this engagement as well as soon as these Fulani archers comes in. So yeah, it's just looking really, really good. And he is aging up with Yoruba, so he's gonna be able to get the Yoruba pop once he gets up. He actually doesn't have that card, but he could actually go for, of course, train Yoruba himself. So that's the Red guy, and let's see the Blue player. Is he aging as well? Yes, he is. So both players are aging up with Yoruba. I think Yoruba is just such a good option. Like, whenever I go to H4, I basically 90% of the time pick Yoruba. There's such a good H-up for H4, because you get that 1000 influence, which is just super useful. And then on top of that, you get the ability to train those Yorubas, which is really good because, well, they spawn so quickly that if you need to respond to your opponent pushing you while aging, yeah, then you really can do that. So with the first card coming in here is 8 Lefidi for Red. And let's see Blue here. I wonder what he's gonna send. And I think he needs... I think he probably want to send this Guondo card. But it does look like he actually maybe cancelled the H-up, or maybe I saw it wrong incorrectly, but yeah, he's not actually H4 and he's not aging either, interestingly enough. Meanwhile, the Lefidis are about to pop here, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna be enough. There's just too much anti-cav at this moment, and yeah, it's gonna be really tough for him. He is really struggling on gold. He doesn't have the livestock market, so he can't really do any trading either. So yeah, it's just really tough spot here, trying to use the remaining resources. And we see blue really picking out off here in the score. So yeah, it's looking quite dire for red here, and he's trying to escape some villagers. He does have actually a surprising amount of villagers. So we got 53 villagers for red. He even got some fishing boats left, interestingly enough. And meanwhile we have 66 for blue. So blue is the when he passed through here. So that really allows his opponent to cockroach and stay in the game like this. And even though I think it's over, it definitely helped red out. He's also going now for the New World crops. Very unusual tech to see, especially considering he doesn't actually have any farms as far as I can see. Well, actually it does. Okay, so that was blue going for that. Like, it's really confusing here with the with the names and the sides. So both playing as Hausa as well. So yeah, we do see some farms coming out, and yeah, just blue is just really comfortable in this position. I think he's also finally training some cattle. You always want to train the cattle. It's so good. Especially when your economy starts to pick off like this, building some extra cattle and then doing the tech that replenishes the cattle, and the tech that also makes them generate more influence. It's just so good to get that huge influence trickle. We do see 5 falconets from red here popping out. So he does have quite a nice force. We don't see any culverins from blue. So blue ideally really needs to get some culverins out. And you have to remember that red is still 1 age ahead of blue here, which is quite nice. We do see another university here coming out. This is really what you want to do. You want to take that map control with the forts. We see a push here from red. He's gonna try to get these buildings, but yeah, there's just more culverins here on the field. Yeah, those culverins gonna make short work of the falconets. And I say that though, but he used the griots to stun the culverins, and it was just really beautiful, because that made it so that the falconets could actually fire before the culverin for that second round, and it really made a difference. It really shows you the strength of these griots. But yeah, there's just way too little units from red here, and yeah, blue is just gonna be able to overwhelm this army here by sheer mass. Yeah, and there goes the last falconet, and now there's only a Khans left, and there's still a lot of these Fulanis. But you see the griots really putting out so much work. Like, the griots with that area effect damage is just so good. It's really nullifying a lot of these units here in the composition. It's actually gonna make the difference. You see, red is actually pulling ahead here in this fight. Now that was really unexpected actually, and we do see a lot of reinforcing units here from red. So very interesting turn of events there, and I think that really gave that was a really good trade that really put red back on the map, and I think it's looking a lot closer now. We do see more Fulanis coming in, but these guys are not upgraded. So yeah, the blues Fulanis are a lot stronger than reds, even though red is an H4. So red really needs to get those upgrades for the Fulanis ASAP. He's stacking 5,000 wood. You see, 5,000. Yeah, you heard me correctly. He has 5,000 wood in the bank. He really needs to find a way to spend all of this wood. Ideally, I think he needs to put down a lot of town centers, a lot of buildings like universities, and also palaces, like putting down a palace around this university, putting a university and a palace here, and he just needs to use that wood and also get a lot of these Fulanis, and also, of course, make sure to upgrade the Falanis, because that upgrade is not gonna win this fight. And let's take a look at what cards he has to send. So he's actually sending the tokens of 1,600 influence. That's gonna be really nice. That's gonna mean that he's gonna be able to get 3 more Falconets out, actually, which is really nice. But what is really unfortunate now is he doesn't have the range upgrade card for the Falanis. So Blue's Falanis is always gonna be just way better than Red's because of that extra range. You see, there's a huge difference here in the range if you compare. So here's the range for the red Falani. You can see that's 17 range, and take a look at blue. You see he actually has 20 range, so huge difference there. And we do see 2 culverins coming out here. They're gonna be able to pick off these falconets, and yeah, now it's looking good for blue. If he just manages to take out those cannons, yeah, then I think it's gonna be over. And yeah, there's just nothing from red to really counter those culverins, and it just takes so much time to shoot the culverins from range with that 75 range resistance. But he is gathering up that influence, it looked like. So with that 1,600 influence he sent, he's gonna be able to make some more falconets. Getting 2, he could actually get 3 falconets out even. And now we see some universities coming out for blue as well. Blue is getting like max universities here, and you see that really nice composition of the university with the palace and the town center. This is what you want to do. As soon as you hit H3, you want to start building those combinations of buildings so that you get your influence going. And it's still looking surprisingly close, actually, and the game has really progressed into a farm game now. And at this stage of the game, Hausa's farms are just incredibly terrible. We see the gather rate like 0.68. That is incredibly slow gather rate. And we see some falconets coming out for red here, but there's still some culverins out from blue. So he doesn't really have an answer for those culverins, but he's gonna be able to get some shots off for the Falani. We see blue building a town center here right next to the red town center. So this is just interesting stuff here. You've seen it here first, town center against town center. And unfortunately, this town center isn't actually inside the range of this university. I think he wanted to place the town center here would actually be a lot better. Meanwhile, we see some raids here with the sacred band infantry against his blues sacred band infantry. So he probably used that ability because he saw that the red units were attacking him and just not getting the trading post down. That's really unfortunate. You know what, there's a fight breaking out here. We do see 3 culverins rolling in, and I think as soon as the culverins hit the field, there's gonna be a lot of interesting development here in this fight. But he is losing a lot of archers here, actually. Meanwhile, being attacked by this fort as well, which really gives red really nice line of sight. So we do see some raids here, quite nice, getting a few villagers pick off there, and losing the first falconet there. And I think red just really badly needs a culverin. And we can see red actually has better falconets, of course, because they shadow tech. They're already upgraded, and he's gonna be able to pick off this falconet right here. Also the culverin, which is gonna be quite nice, but yeah, there's just not enough accounts, I think, to deal with the rest of the army. And the problem now is that his falconets might be rushed, but actually he managed to survive this and actually has quite a few Falanis still there. So this position is gonna be able to hold, and it's actually looking quite good for him. He's also getting 2 more culverins, although they won't really be countering anything unless, of course, yeah, I guess red still has these 2 falconets, so I guess they will counter those quite well. But yeah, not a whole lot of falconets from red side. And I think this is the point where the influence really starts to pick off. 650 here for the blue player. And let's check the red player, 2,000. Okay, so I guess he's actually gathering some crate or something, because 2,000 sounds like a whole lot. But yeah, you can really just take off with that influence gathering, and it really makes a huge difference, because it means you can get so many cannons out. Like when you start to get in this realm of like 500, 600 influence a minute, then that really means that you can get like you basically have like a factory pumping out one at a time. But yeah, it's just such a nice pickup, actually, picking up both of the culverins, while he has his falconets here on this side shooting against the Fulanis. And I think blue could probably have dove in there actually with the javelin, right? It's not a whole lot to protect these guys with the accounts up here, but he actually manages to escape with the one of the culverins. So yeah, that was just a bit overwhelming there on the micro side, and I think both players they're losing a bit more than they had to. Now we see the blue player aging up here to H4. Got a lot of these farms on gold, and yeah, it's just terrible rates. Like 0.49. He really needs to get all the upgrades. Preferably want to get the card as well, but yeah, in a 1v1 deck you rarely carry those cards, and he's gonna be able to do some raiding here. But yeah, the javelins are pretty bad versus villagers, so it's gonna take quite a while to kill all of these villagers. But needless to say, it's a quite nice pickup, and he's gonna actually opt for the Durbar Parade first. So this is the card that gives the area of effect damage for raiders and Lafidi Knights. So quite nice card. I think it's interesting going for that card though, considering he don't really have any unit to benefit from the card right now. But I guess he is planning on making some Lafidi Knights, which would actually be really good considering his opponent is really building a lot of these Fulanis. But he is managing to pick off a lot of villagers here, and this really hurts. So we see blue on 96 villagers, and his opponent red here only on 68. So blue is really getting ahead here on the eco side, and I think that's what really makes the big difference here in this game. It's been really close, but yeah, blue has just managed to develop his economy better behind this, and he's just feeling really confident now. He's stacking a lot of resources. He's up to H4, and yeah, he's just really comfortable. So we're probably gonna see another fight breaking out here. I feel like we're pretty close to the end, and I think this is gonna be quite decisive who wins this fight. But I do think that blue just have better possibilities here to get reinforcements. Although I would love to see like some raiding on this side, trying to get map control of this part of the map as well. We really see the two bases like right next to each other. Now we see blue pushing in here. He's in the farms. He wants to be to kill those villagers there, and there's a lot of champion Fulani archers here versus the elite ones. So actually the blue Fulanis are actually a lot stronger. As you can see, they do have the upgrade, but at the same time the cannon's gonna do quite a lot of work here. But yeah, the culverin is gonna be able to kill the last falconet there, and now that the last falconet has dropped, it is, I think, still looking good for blue, although it is a really close fight actually. And we do see some Mamelukes coming out here, so that's just really nice, getting the Mamelukes in. Oof, that is amazing. I think he probably built those were probably mercenaries on the map, so I guess he spent gold to build those. That's just really nice. And now sending 8 semi-fattened cattle. Quite an interesting choice. Like, he could cancel this and send the Kanuri guards now. Probably be a lot better, but yeah, the game is over. So whew, that was a long but interesting game. It just shows you the different unit compositions you can use with Hausa, and there's really no right or wrong here. But when you do use you really need to know the strength of the composition. Like the Fulani Jav composition is really good, but it's also very micro heavy and it lacks siege. But it is very cost efficient. And meanwhile we see the Akan composition. It's very easy to micro, and it's very good at sieging buildings. But the problem is when you're up against these like skirm type units, then it's really tough for them to actually do any damage because they can just be constantly outrange. And I think this game also shows you the importance of having the range upgrade card in your deck, because if you get into a position like this where you start stacking so much wood and food, like we saw Red do here, and he needs to build Fulanis because that's basically what he can build, you really want that range upgrade card, because if you don't have it in your deck, you're gonna suffer so much. Overall, really great game, and thank you so much, Joychew, I hope I say that right, probably not, for sending me this game. And guys, if you want to send me games, it's really hard to find good Hausa games, so if you have an interesting game to send me, hit me up on the Sunbros Discord, and I will definitely give it a cast. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.